Right now, something very strange is happening in the silver market, and most people have no idea how serious this situation really is. In just a short time, silver has gone from being ignored to becoming one of the most talked about assets among smart money, insiders, and long-term investors. But here's the part that should really grab your attention. The physical silver supply is getting tighter while demand is quietly rising behind the scenes. That combination has historically led to massive price moves, and many experts are now asking a question that sounds crazy to most people. Could silver really be heading toward $89, or will the market try to push prices lower one more time before the real breakout begins? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this silver supply crisis could change everything for investors, savers, and anyone who still believes in real money. Before we go deeper, if you care about protecting your wealth, understanding what's really happening in the financial system, and staying ahead of major market shifts, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Safe Haven Wealth. This helps the channel grow and allows me to keep bringing you updates that most mainstream media will never explain clearly. It also tells the algorithm that this kind of honest financial content matters. Now, let's get into what's really happening with silver, because this story is bigger than most people realize. For years, silver has been treated like a second-class metal compared to gold. Gold gets the headlines, gold gets the respect, and silver is often seen as just an industrial metal or a smaller version of gold. But that thinking is now starting to break down. Silver is not just money. It is also one of the most important industrial metals in the world. It is used in solar panels, electric vehicles, electronics, medical equipment, and many advanced technologies. As the world pushes harder toward green energy and high-tech manufacturing, silver demand keeps rising. At the same time, new silver supply is not growing at the same speed. In fact, in many cases, it is shrinking. Most people don't realize that silver mining is not as simple as turning on a tap. Many silver mines are actually byproducts of mining for other metals like copper, lead, and zinc. That means silver production depends on how profitable those other metals are. If copper or zinc prices fall, silver production can also drop, even if silver demand is strong. This creates a hidden supply problem that can explode when demand suddenly increases. And right now, that is exactly what we are starting to see. On top of industrial demand, investment demand for silver is quietly picking up again. When inflation stays high, when trust in paper money drops, and when people start worrying about debt, currency debasement, and financial instability, they naturally look for real assets. Gold usually gets the first wave of attention, but historically, silver often follows and then outperforms in percentage terms. This is why many long-time precious metals investors say that silver is the more explosive metal. It doesn't move slowly. When it moves, it can move fast and hard. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. The paper silver market and the physical silver market are not the same thing. On paper, there appears to be plenty of silver available. futures contracts, ETFs, and other financial products make it look like silver is easy to buy and sell in large amounts. But in the real physical world, where bars and coins must actually be delivered, cracks are starting to show. Premiums on physical silver remain elevated. Delivery times are sometimes longer. Large buyers are having to plan ahead instead of assuming instant supply. These are classic signs of a tightening market. At the same time, we are seeing reports of large players taking physical silver off the market and holding it. When big buyers remove physical supply, it reduces what is available for everyone else. This creates a situation where even a small increase in demand can cause big price pressure. This is how supply crises begin quietly and then suddenly become obvious to everyone all at once. Now, let's talk about the big question that many people are asking. Is silver really heading toward $89, or is this just hype? The truth is, from a historical and technical perspective, that kind of move is not as crazy as it sounds. When silver had its major run in the past, it moved very fast and very far in a relatively short period of time. Adjusted for inflation and compared to gold, silver is still historically cheap. Some analysts believe that silver is one of the most undervalued major assets in the financial system right now. However, markets rarely move in a straight line. Even in strong bull markets, there are pullbacks, shakeouts, and periods where prices move lower before the next major leg higher. This is where a lot of people get confused and emotional. They see silver dip and think the story is over. But in reality, those dips are often designed to shake out weak hands before the real move begins. There is also the influence of large financial institutions and traders who operate in the paper market. These players can push prices around in the short term using large volumes of contracts. This can create sudden drops that have little to do with real physical supply and demand. For long-term investors, this can be frustrating, but it also creates opportunities. If the physical market is tight and demand is growing, paper price drops may not reflect the true long-term value of silver. Another important factor is what is happening with currencies and debt. Governments around the world are carrying massive debt levels. Central banks have printed huge amounts of money over the past several years. Even when inflation numbers go down on paper, the long-term effects of currency creation do not disappear. Over time, this weakens purchasing power. Real assets like gold and silver have historically been used as protection against this kind of slow financial erosion. As trust in fiat currencies slowly weakens, more people begin to look for alternatives. This does not happen overnight. It happens gradually, and then suddenly. When confidence breaks, money moves fast. If even a small percentage of global investors decide to move into physical silver, the current supply would not be able to handle it. This is one of the reasons why some experts believe silver could see a much higher price than most people expect. But there is also a realistic scenario where silver retests lower levels before making its big move. This could happen if broader markets sell off, if the US dollar strengthens temporarily, or if traders push paper prices down to reset positions. These moves can feel scary, but they do not necessarily change the long-term fundamentals. In many past cycles, the biggest silver rallies started after periods where the market looked weak and boring. This is why smart investors focus on the bigger picture instead of short-term noise. They look at supply, demand, monetary policy, industrial usage, and long-term trends. When you zoom out, the silver story becomes much clearer. Tightening supply, rising industrial demand, growing investment interest, and weakening trust in fiat systems all point in the same direction over time. Here at Safe Haven Wealth, the goal is not to hype or scare, but to help you see the full picture so you can make smarter decisions. Silver is not a get-rich-quick asset. It is a long-term protection and opportunity play. It is about preparing for a financial future that may look very different from the past. It is about understanding that real assets still matter in a world full of digital numbers and paper promises. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most people who never look deeper than headlines. This is why it's so important to stay informed, stay patient, and stay focused on fundamentals. Short-term price moves can be noisy and emotional. Long-term trends are where real wealth decisions are made. As we move forward, watch what happens to physical silver availability. Watch industrial demand, and watch how central banks and governments handle debt and currency issues. These are the real drivers behind silver's future. Whether silver hits $89 sooner or later, or whether it retests lower levels first, the bigger story is that silver is becoming more important again in a world that is quietly shifting. Now, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Do you think silver is getting ready for a major breakout, or do you think we'll see one more shakeout before the real move? Drop your opinion in the comments, because your perspective helps this community learn from each other. And if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to share this video with someone who cares about protecting their money and understanding what's really happening in the financial system. The more people who are informed, the stronger we all become. Thank you for being part of Safe Haven Wealth. Stay aware, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next update.